Yes, we are live, and it's a small matter of a North London derby happening tonight. So we thought we come in, invite a couple of guests, and check in on some nerves. We'll get into it straight after this intro. The match reaction, wrong intro, but who cares? This is the lounge, and I have got some special guests with me today on what is the 5,191st trophyless day for Tottenham Hotspur. Broadcast and chatter, GTalksArsenal. How are we, sir?
Boy, I'd like to say I'm good, but I don't know if that pretty much sums up my mood or my feeling at the moment. But you know what? Aside from the North London derby and obviously the expected nerves, I am well. And obviously, thank you for inviting me on, man.
No, thank you. Pleasure as always. You've somewhat become a bit of a regular these days, and we love having you.
Yeah, man, I know.
Darius, sorry, I had a little dig in there.
It's fine. It's fine. I'm pretty sure. I can't remember how many years. It's been since you lot finished above us. So I think the trophy thing is gonna come. That's all I can hold on to is St. Totteringham's Day, and it may come to an end soon. So I think I'm gonna clutch onto whatever I've got at the moment because it may come to an end soon. But I'm still confident that we can beat you. Don't think that I'm not confident that we ain't gonna get a job done on later on today, shall I say?
I know it's only a matter of 7.5 hours to go now, and like I said, we've come to checking on nerves. It's the 191st meeting between the two teams. Arsenal winning 79 of them, Spurs winning 60. Still got a little way to go there, Tottenham, but you are closing the gap. I have to admit, and hopefully you don't do that tonight. So, how are we feeling in general going into this game? I'm going to start with our guest Darius 3K.
It's been a roller coaster, to be honest. I think if you'd asked me maybe a month ago, 6 weeks ago, it'd be a lot different. I'd be probably over the moon saying, yep, it's almost secured, probably have it done by the North London derby, celebrate on our pitch. But things happen, crazy stuff happened for your team. I mean, I can't believe some of the things I've seen in games. It was wild, decisions going your way, but at the end of the day, results got achieved, and 3 wins later against West Ham, Chelsea, and United, and it's looking like a completely different story. And just to make it worse, I mean, it still would have been okay had we had beaten Brentford and Brighton, but that wasn't done. So there's a lot of reasons to be annoyed. I mean, people can make excuses up. I know a lot of people are saying conspiracy theory, this and that, but I think it's just disappointment for me. I think it's annoying that we have let it get to this stage now where even if we beat you guys, it makes a big difference, I guess, in terms of pressure. But in the grand scheme of things, we're still watching your games. We're still having to watch you against Everton and you against Newcastle, because either way, if you win those 2 games and we beat you, you're still top 4. So it's annoying. It's not in our hands. I said this from a long time ago. I said it's in Arsenal's hands. If they win all their games, kind of just have to applaud them. They didn't, but at the same time, we messed up. So I just hope we can win, just so you don't win it you don't secure it on our home turf. But if we beat you, I think there might be a little bit of pressure, but it's still not in our hands, man. It's not nice to say.
And you would hate it even more, obviously, because it's the first time that this derby's in front of inside your new stadium, in front of a crowd. So
yeah, and they've got a lot of stuff going on as well. I mean, there's going to be a big reaction and sort of a big reception. So I'm hoping that they play their role and do a big part in turning the tide on this game. But I think it's pressure for both teams. I do think the pressure's on us more because obviously if you win, it's done. But I also think that you guys will play either one of 2 ways. You'll play like it's a North London derby and try and go out and win the game, or I think you have the tendency to potentially sit back and play the counter game, which either way, we just have to work out what you're doing and do it quickly so we can find the best tactic to win. Because either way, I think it's going to be a physical game. So people have to be on. They have to be on it from minute one. There's no slacking, because if you concede, it's over. It's really over.
Yeah, yeah. I've obviously, you don't know if you've heard as well, but Saka and White weren't in training yesterday.
Yeah,
weren't in training.
That? I look at Darius there. I'll come back to him on that one as well. But give us your thoughts on that.
Yeah, it's one of those, isn't it, where it's like, obviously when you look at our season, there's no way you can avoid, the conversation of just how integral Saka's been and Saka is. And you just have to look at the Pepe situation with regards to that, and the way, as a kid, he cemented that right wing position. So obviously not in training. I'm kind of hoping that's just mind games. I'm hoping that's just, bit of a chess game, bit of politics there. Because I think, as Arsenal fans, I think if we don't see Saka's name on the team sheet, I think that will just make the nerves even more. Because I think there's very little trust in the fan base when it comes to Pepe. Having said that, Pepe's the type of player that he could play tonight in Saka's absence and have an absolute stinker, or he could go and absolutely win the game for us, and score 2 goals, and absolutely destroy them. My only thing with Pepe, and this is something that I had a conversation on Albert's stream the other night, is that the one thing with Saka, which because I'm still a fan of Pepe, but the one thing with Saka that I really love is that regardless of whether he has a good game going forward, he never neglects his defensive duties. And I can't really say the same for Pepe. There definitely is more of a trust when it comes to Saka. It's the reason why when we had left back issues, I said the only player I trust to play left back is Saka, because he's the type of player, even when he's not playing well, he'll never drop below like a 6 or a 7. So Saka will be a massive miss if we miss him. So I'm just praying and hoping that he is fit and he is ready to go. In terms of Ben White, obviously he plays an integral, regardless of what your opinion is of Ben White, in terms of the fee, in terms of how he's settled in at Arsenal, he's massively integral in the way we play football. Having said that, you know what I've seen of Rob Holding this season, I trust him to come in and do a job. And I think with this type of game, I think it would be almost kind of perfect for him in that, we need a solid defender. We need somebody at the back there who's pretty sound. Yeah, at times he can look suspect, and I think at times, Tottenham do have the players that can really get at him. But I just think this season, I think Arteta's shown that he's put trust in this squad. And I don't think any of us would envision that with 3 games to go that we'd be anywhere near top 4. And Rob Holding, regardless of your opinions of him, Rob Holding has played a massive integral part. He's been the guy that Arteta has looked to when he's wanted to close up shop and secure the 3 points, or get a point over the line. So whatever happens with team selection, we just got to make sure we get behind the boys, and hopefully they can do the job.
Do you think it's going to be? Do you think Saka sort of being a miss is going to be more important than Ben White? Because I think it's weird. Like when we discuss the centre backs, it's always a debate between Arsenal and Tottenham fans, and I think it's because obviously we don't watch each other's teams as much. But for me, and this is as a Spurs fan, I think Romero has sort of been almost one of the best centre backs in the league, just because he's been so integral to our team, like you said. Is Ben White sort of, do you have that same feeling as us to Romero, where if you ask a lot of Tottenham fans, they'll say Romero is sort of like undroppable, one of the best players on our team. Do you have that same feeling towards Ben White, or is it just his ball playing ability is so important, or it's just important to what Arteta wants to do?
Yeah, I personally I don't feel like that with Ben White at this stage of his career. I do think, like I said, he adds a lot in terms of our transitional play from defense to attack. At the same time, I don't think he's been consistent enough at the back for me to say if he's not in the first 11, like, oh crap, we're going to lose this match. He's had games where he's been absolutely solid. I think even the game in the first North London derby where we came up trumps, he had a really good game at that game. But then he's equally had games where he looks really shaky. And I think the same can be said for Gabriel. Gabriel on his day looks like prime Desai. And then, when he doesn't have a good game, dare I say it, he looks a bit like Eric Dyer. So,
I think Gabriel as well. He's very rash at times.
So
Very, very...
it is
not
a
going to take no
difficult
Dyer
one.
slander anymore.
It is. I'm playing with you, man. It is a difficult one. I feel like in terms of the defense, I do feel like there are players there that for me I'd be more concerned about in their absence. Tomiyasu is definitely one of them. I think we've been a lot stronger since he's come back into the team. And when he was out of the team, we really struggled. Obviously, Kieran Tierney is a big miss. We've had untold issues at left back since he's been out. And Ramsdale, for me, would be more integral to the first 11 in this match than Ben White. So he's definitely going to be a miss in terms of the way we transition from defence to attack. But defensively, I feel that Rob Holding is more than adequate to come in and do a defensive job for Ben White.
Music to my ears.
Nice.
You know about my love for Rob.
I do.
But listen, I think you're right, and I want to get a Spurs fan's idea of what sort of team you think Arsenal will play out today. Because Tavares, as you ask any Arsenal fan, he doesn't go anywhere near the starting lineup today.
Bro,
you know what? We were debating this. I don't know whether, and I was saying earlier on, I don't know whether you're going to take the approach of get a first goal, get maybe a second goal, and dead the game straight away, or just, at the same time, you could potentially play 5 at the back and go for it and will not go for it and necessarily go for that defensive tactic and maybe scratch a 1-0 win. I think you're going to go for a 4-3-3, if I'm honest. I don't think you're going to hold off until you've got that lead. You can make tactical substitutions partway through the game. So Ramsdale, I think, is a sure starter. The difficult one for me is, I guess you would play Cedric left back or Cedric right back and Tomiyasu left back, as you haven't got the players to really fill in. I think Tomiyasu is that player that you can just put along the line and sort of play anywhere. But I do think, obviously, he is both-footed, so I do think he will be fine. But playing out of your natural position is always going to be sort of a small hindrance to someone. Centre-backs, I think, is going to be a problem for you guys. Even if it was Ben White, if he's not 100%, Rob Holding or Gabriel, I think they're going to struggle against Son and Kane if Son and Kane are on their top form. And I think 100%. That's one of the big battles that I'm looking for. I think Cedric versus Son should be lights out. Son should be there and destroying him pretty much every single time. And I expect that from Son. And Kane versus Holding, I think, is probably a worse matchup for Kane than Kane versus White. To be honest with you, I think Ben White would try maybe to get a little bit too close to Kane and try maybe intercept him a little bit too much. And I think Kane's good at rolling off the ball and playing that sort of ball and pass the centre back. So, and Gabriel's a little bit like that as well. I noticed Gabriel likes to sort of be that aggressive centre back. So Kane, I think, and Son match up quite well against his centre backs. Midfield, I think, is again a battle which we win. So I'm not too worried. I think Bentancur and Højbjerg do a job against Xhaka and El Neni. And especially if sort of it gets physical, I think that players like Xhaka don't fare well against smarter and more intelligent. Like Bentancur and Højbjerg will be able to get in Xhaka's head and you maybe see a red card from him. And the same goes for Romero, which is why I'm a little bit worried that they might put a little bit of pressure on Romero. Martinelli's Brazilian. Romero ain't gonna like him. He's gonna want to leave one on Martinelli. It could get a bit feisty. So I think the same will happen with Xhaka. The scary thing for me is our fullbacks. It's I don't know if our fullbacks are good enough to go forward and back with your wing backs.
On your fullbacks, I saw a little interesting stat about how Doherty was involved in most of your goals. You know, when you were in that run where you scored lots of goals. Before he got injured, I think it was only sort of Kane, Son, Tony, Salah, and maybe one other player that had more goal involvements in him.
Crazy,
which is he had like 6 or 7 goal involvements in I think his last 4 or 5 games. So he is a big miss, and he probably is by default our best fullback, which is mad to say. And a lot of Spurs fans, again, 2 months ago probably wouldn't have said that, but he is our best fullback. Emerson he got man of the match last game, but guy can't really do much. He can't really go forward or go back. People say, he's like Wan-Bissaka, but at least Wan-Bissaka can defend it. Emerson can't really do much either way. So whoever you play on the left, which will probably be Martinelli, I'm assuming, that's going to be scary for me. And then Saka versus Sessegnon again. Sessegnon did well against Salah, does well against very good right wingers when he has to do a job against him. But Saka's a very good player. So it's going to be out wide that I think you guys are going to be a threat. And I think through the middle, especially with Kane dropping deep, we're going to sort of put that pressure on you. And
it depends how much defensive work Odegaard's going to do, if he's going to sort of stay in that hole and sort of be that transition, or if he's going to actually, you know, do the work and allow sort of Elneny to drop a bit back, because Kane's going to find those spaces, and if he does, it could be a problem with, you know, White and Gabriel potentially, you know, pushing out and trying to win that ball.
Yeah. I mean, I going on wing backs. We just go on our wing backs just quickly. You know, we brought up Cedric and Tomiyasu to probably be the starters. It's where would you put Tomiyasu and Cedric now? For me, obviously with Tomiyasu, we saw what he did in the home game against Spurs with Son. You know, he was getting him out of his pocket when he got home and all that. But I look at Kulusevski, and he seems a bit more of a unit compared to Son. So I would probably put Tomiyasu against him than Cedric. With Son, and then you got Saka who can help him out. Can we do something like that?
You know what? It's a problem either way. It's a problem either way, and I say that with the most respect for Tottenham's front three. Just put it this way, you know, dare I say, if we had Tottenham's front three, we would have been third. And this game this game would be absolutely pointless. Tottenham's front three is just phenomenal.
It's crazy to see sort of Kulusevski do it from January as well. I mean, I've seen him do it from Juventus and Atalanta and that, but when he came in January and sort of the numbers he's doing, I know a lot of people sort of see Diaz and he's been amazing as well, but I think for a kid who's younger than Foden, he's 21, he's younger than Foden. I think it's a bit of a madness to do what he's doing in the Premier League.
Yeah, I was upset when you signed him because I mean we were enjoying him.
But this is the thing, though. A lot of Arsenal fans turned their nose up to him and didn't want him. In terms of the fullbacks, it's like, for me, I would be more tempted to put Tommy on Son, because obviously the thing that they had. You know, I feel like defensively he is the strongest of the fullbacks. The problem is that, like you said, you know, do we really fancy Cedric's chances? And I'm not too sure. It's like when you look at both teams and you look how they will kind of match up, there are concerns. There are concerns for Arsenal fans, there are concerns for Spurs fans. And it seems to be in those kind of wide areas. We was on our stream last night, and one of our guests said about, you know, bringing in Tavares, and I said, hell no. Oh, no, I
wouldn't do that.
Like, I would be absolutely gobsmacked if Arteta brought in Tavares. And for me, it's just common sense. Like he's been in flashes good, but when he's been bad, he's been probably the worst player at Arsenal this season. And my concern also, apart from his inconsistent displays, it's also the fact that, you know, nobody tonight for me, and I was saying this off air with Tony when we first jumped backstage, I don't feel any individual can afford to have a stinker tonight. And particularly Tavares. I think someone like Tavares, you know, coming from Benfica, first season, he's not done very well. If he starts tonight and he has a stinker, his Arsenal career is done, because Arsenal fans will literally not forgive him. So I think there needs to be a bit of responsibility in terms of protecting him. I think if anybody's going to be thrown into tonight's game out of Cedric and Tavares, you got to give it to Cedric, the seasoned pro, Premier League experience. And look, everybody's got a mistake in them, and it's a high-pressured game. I wouldn't be surprised if there are several mistakes in this game. But at the end of the day, you got to put it on the shoulders of players that will carry that weight a bit better. And for me, Tavares is not, in terms of his career, in terms of his, you know, coming to England and his performances, his shoulders, they might be physically wide enough, but believe you me, they're not wide enough to shoulder that type of responsibility at this stage. So it's boy, I feel like there's so many things in terms of, like, you know, the setup of both teams that could go. But I think, you know, what Darius said is crucial. I think regardless of how both teams approach this game, whoever scores first, for me, are going to be massive favourites to win this.
The tactics change, don't they, as soon as that first goal goes in?
Completely change, because I feel like, you know, we in another stream I was on the other day, we were talking about, like, somebody brought up the point that Arsenal are the fourth team to keep the ball the most possession in the league, and Spurs are the fifth. But when you look at that, if you actually look at the more impressive performances of both sides, we tend to both be better when we don't have the ball, and when we're transitioning from, we might nick it and we're transitioning from defense to attack. So in a way, we're both better at counter-attacking, because yes, we keep the ball, but we tend to find it difficult to break the other side down. So whoever scores the first goal could probably afford to then sit back and rely on that attacking, that counter-attacking style to then go on and get maybe 2, maybe 3. So I think the first 10, 15 minutes is going to be massively tense. I think it's going to be somewhat of a chess game, and it's just going to take a mistake or a split-second opportunity to change, the dynamics of this game. But boy, it's going to be some game. I honestly wouldn't want to be any of those players tonight, honestly.
Yeah, no, it's. I mean, I'm expecting a tight game. I'm expecting an open game because I honestly do think. I know it's not really Spurs' style, but I think they're going to have to go out and just go for it. Just want to talk about quickly. You brought up the Romero situation where he can sometimes see it like red. When you've got a player like, let me ask you, would you be more concerned to see Nketiah up front than Lacazette? Because the thing with Nketiah for me is that I don't know if you've seen him the last few games, but he's very he chases the ball. He gets in the play in the defenders' faces. I look at, is it Royale that plays on the right side? You got Royale and then you got Romero. I think he can cause a lot of problems. I really do.
I'm sorry, I'm not. Even though Nketiah has actually scored a couple goals recently and big goals as well. So was it Chelsea you scored and
2 against Chelsea,
2 against Chelsea, 2 against Leeds.
Yeah,
I'm not scared of Nketiah. That may bite me on my ass tonight, but he's one player who I genuinely don't really have any fear of. I'd rather see him only because I think Lacazette, even though he might not be in better form, I think because he's older, he's more experienced, I think he'd know how to deal with a centre-back like Romero better. I think, and I said this on the stream yesterday, if Romero is sort of the physical specimen that he wants to be and he does what he does, he'll put a couple on Nketiah, and I think Nketiah might say, you know what, I don't really want a lot of that, because Romero will run through players. Like the goal that we scored against, I can't remember, I think it might have been either the Liverpool game or it was another game. He put 2 massive tackles in to win us the ball back, and without those 2 big tackles, we wouldn't have scored that goal. So I think it's just important for Romero to do what he does, and I think if he, not obviously, I don't want him to injure a player, but I think to be physical and just, let Nketiah know that he's there from early, I think Nketiah might say, you know what, I don't know if I want that game. I don't know if I want that battle. Other players, I think, will be up for that challenge. I think players like Saka will be able to, especially with his feet, I think Saka would be able to deal with Romero quite well. I think James mentioned in a comment sort of about Romero being touch tight on his marking. We'll go to them, yeah. Very, very, very touch tight. He likes to try and intercept that ball. He may commit a foul or 2 in a game because of it, but 85-90% of the time he is winning that ball. That's why he's that good. And he's very good on the ball, to be fair. He can find the pass, he can find distribution quite well. So I just think he just needs to be a little bit physical with Nketiah and let him know he's there. And Lacazette, I think, would know that Romero's playing that game, and he might flop to the floor a little bit, maybe suck up a little, or maybe make it look a little bit worse than it did. Get him a yellow card. I think Nketiah, if Romero does that to him, I think Nketiah will be rather like, you know what, I think I'm gonna try and put the pressure on Ben Davies on the other side more than Romero, and I think that's why Royale looks a lot better, because Romero's on that side. Royale doesn't really have as much defending to do, but Romero will sort of bail him out if he messes up. So yeah, I'm not fussed about Nketiah. I'm sorry, I don't actually think he's that good. I think you that's the first place that you lot should be really looking at to improve. If you can get a top level striker, it changes everything for me. I think Nunez is one of those strikers that I know Jesus is another one that you've been linked with. Miles better than Nketiah, I think, finishing wise and everything. So yeah.
Would you agree with that, G?
Yeah, I agree. Do you know what I mean? I'm definitely not part of the fan base that is massively convinced or out here saying that he should sign the thing and stay, etc., etc. I've always, I'm always a fan of when young players kind of come through the ranks. When you look at kind of Nketiah in terms of what he was doing at youth level, when you look at what he was doing,
England 21s,
record goal scorer. That's nothing. That's nothing. That's no disrespect. That is a great achievement. But for me, it got to a point in terms of Nketiah's career where I've just not seen the transition. From the youth ranks to the senior team. Now, some people will argue and say he's not really had a fair crack at the whip in terms of like games and stuff like that. But I don't blame fans, Spurs fans, yourself, Darius, for not fearing Nketiah, because even despite his goal scoring accolades over the last couple of games, if he were to walk out of the club this season on a free, I'm not going to lose any sleep over it.
The Crystal Palace is his level, man. Like,
this is it. I feel that, you know, for me, in an ideal world, I want Laka and Eddie to both leave, and I want us to bring in 2 strikers. At the end of the day, I don't pull the strings at Arsenal. So if we end up keeping Eddie, getting rid of Laka and bringing one in, then I just have to accept that. But yeah, for me, he's not the type of striker that sends fear into the opposition defenders. But as Tony says, he is a nuisance. He is a goal poacher. And in a way, it's almost like you would kind of want to have a bit of a hybrid between Laka and Eddie for tonight's game. Because like you were saying, Darius, you know, Laka, he's been around the block. He can drop deep. He can hold up the ball. He can bring the wing players into the game. Whereas that's not really part of Eddie's game. But what will happen, anything falls loose in that 6-yard box, Eddie will be there to tuck it away. So it might be one of those games where we might have to call on both of them at different stages of the game. You know, it might be a thing where Arteta goes with the experience of Lacazette because he feels that, you know, he'll be able to do a job. But let's face it, Eddie's already taken over Laka's goal scoring achievements this season, and that's just embarrassing. So I think like he may start with Laka due to the experience, but at the end of the day, I think if we realistically want to get at Spurs, and if we need to get at Spurs to get a goal, Eddie, as sad as it is, Eddie is the guy that is more likely to get a goal over Laka. So I'm not surprised that, you know, you're not scared of Eddie. And to me, it's no disrespect because I think even Arsenal fans, you know, you take away the goals against Chelsea and the 2 against Leeds, and every single Arsenal fan on Twitter wanted Eddie gone. So obviously, you know, this form has helped in terms of obviously, you know, Arsenal fans feeling a lot more positive about him. But yeah, long term, he's not the answer. But obviously, long may his form continue tonight. Long may it continue.
That's all that matters to me.
That's what I'm saying. That's my question, sort of like, if let's say like hypothetically, because I hope it doesn't happen. God hopes it doesn't happen. Let's say you get top 4, and this is why I'm sort of agreeing with Ryuji, because it's like, I think it's a no-brainer that you have to sell both your strikers, because when you're in the Champions League and you're needing to sort of have a player make an impact off the bench, Eddie Nketiah ain't going to be able to do that in the Champions League. Even if you want to keep him, even if you're like, okay, great, he got us his top 4, he's done us a job, he's Arsenal, you know what I mean, he's Arsenal through and through. Still not good enough, do you know what I mean, for that next level. And you can't, me as a Spurs fan, I don't want to stagnate. That's why I'm sort of even reluctant to say to people, because Dyer's had a really good season. Dyer has not been great the past few years. This season and a little bit of last season, he picked himself up and he's been a proper captain. But to be fair, been a captain, obviously, Louis Saar captain, but he's been that leadership, that leader in centre back. Even then, you can still upgrade on him. Ben Davis as well. Again, Ben Davis is in a left centre back role under Conte, has been great, but there's still room to improve. And even if you look at it, are they good enough for that bench? Maybe, maybe not. So I just think, regardless, I just think these players, they've done a job for the teams, but when you look at it, when you've got to take that next step to the Champions League,
ambition,
there's levels to it. And it's like, even Lacazette, even Nketiah, players like that are just not, they're not Champions League level. And it's funny to me when Lacazette says like, oh, I'm leaving on a free and I've had Champions League teams talk to me. It's like, all right, cool. You're going to go to a Champions League team, but is it going to be a team that's really challenging? Is it going to be a team that really cares about, you know, getting out of that group stage? So for me, I think it's a no-brainer. If I was an Arsenal fan, I'd want them both gone in the summer, and you'd look to improve.
He done himself no favours when he said that.
No, he didn't.
Do you think that's why he's probably not played, or is it also just because of his poor form?
I reckon it might be a factor because we know how Arteta's managed players like this before. So I wouldn't be surprised. I'm gonna go to a few of these comments quickly because there is a few up there. Most of it is James. But nonetheless, we'll entertain them. Hello, Jason. He says, if Saka is out, ESR will step in, can't see Pepe starting. See the fingers on that right-hand side. It's only really Pepe for me. Maybe you could put Martinelli there and then a Skipper on the left. Maybe. Yeah,
I just feel like Martinelli is just, you know, as much as we've been interchanging between ESR and Martinelli, I'd probably feel more comfortable if Martinelli starts. And then obviously if we need that kind of impact substitution, ESR has been fantastic from the bench this season. He seems to, anytime he comes in off the bench, he seems to have some say in a goal or an assist. So I'd be more tempted to start with Martinelli. I think he will really get at the fullback, and that's what we want from the first minute. We want him to really get at their fullback. So I'd be more inclined to start Martinelli. In terms of if Saka's not playing, I really don't know. I think out of the two, I'd probably go with ESR. I love Pepe, but I just don't have much trust in him at the moment.
Not now, not in a game like this.
Yeah, and I just think, can he come in on a game like this pretty cold in terms of minutes and really turn it on? I don't know. I'd be more inclined to say what you just said, Tony. Start Martinelli on the left, and if Saka is absent, bring in ESR on the right hand side. I'm not sure about Pepe starting, to be honest.
I feel like ESR, like when I watch Arsenal, correct me if I'm wrong, it seems like Arteta almost he wants to get to the team to look like how Pep plays, how Pep City play. I think that's his sort of final goal. That's what he wants to do. He doesn't want to do the 5 at the back counter, but he still has like the sort of the way that you build attacks it's similar to City. I'm not saying that you guys are on the level of City, whatever, but when I see the way you build attacks, the one-touch football, sort of the constant movement, it reminds me of that. And obviously, he worked under him for all those years. So it seems like ESR plays the same role as Foden, where you can kind of just chuck him in any position and he will do a role. I don't know how you feel about it. I thought potentially that if Saka wasn't fit, you might see sort of ESR play as a centre forward and be almost a false 9 and do a similar role to what Kane does. And then obviously you've got Martinelli and Pepe who can run in behind. But I just don't know. I don't know what to expect, to be honest. It's the tactics more than even the personnel that I genuinely don't know what will happen, because you could play that team. It could be an aggressive team, or you could play a very similar team and it could be defensive. And I just don't know if Arteta is going to think, right, am I going to win this game? It's going to look amazing for the fans. We're going to beat Tottenham at the stadium, first big home crowd, and secure top 4. Or is he thinking, well, even if we don't win this game, we have 2 more chances to not cock up, and they also have 2 more chances to mess up as well. I don't know what he's thinking. I don't know what he's thinking. It's the first 20 minutes, like he said, will probably decide like how the game's going to go. But I don't know what tactic he's thinking. It's going to be a massive, massive thing.
I honestly think this is the kind of game that we're going to see from both sides as well. We're going to see some really questionable inclusions in the lineups. You know when you go to a big game and you see a name going, what? What's he doing in there?
Oh God, if that's how he wins for us, then
you reckon?
Nah, no way. Absolutely no.
Anyway,
I can't think of any big substitution. No, I'm just saying I don't think we'll even make any big changes apart from injuries that will force us to try and keep it simple.
Yeah, definitely. So again, here's James's introduction to the comments. Welcome, Darius, one of the few Spurs fans that speaks. We've said this many times in this channel, and he's proven it.
I'm just not getting carried away. I think that's the only difference. I'm just not getting carried away.
Yeah, it's that caution. I've got it as well, mate. I've got it.
Yeah,
as well.
man. Yeah, man.
ESR is to play on the left for James. ESR and Odegaard behind their midfield, in front of their defence, where you can definitely get at them. He says so. He wants ESR to possibly start, I guess. We need to be aggressive in this game, for sure. All the pressure is on them. We've touched on that. Kane is going to get man-marked by Elneny, and Son is going to be a good matchup for White. Should he be playing? He goes on to say in the midfield they're outnumbered 3-2, so it could be an interesting matchup.
I think it might not be just because Kane will probably do a lot of dropping. That's
he will drop back.
We don't play that. Yeah, I think it won't. I think it will look like it sometimes when we're going forward, but I do think it will look a lot more like a 3. You'll realize that Kane basically plays as number 10 now. So yeah, maybe that might be the big difference. So if Kane does play more forward, we might get overrun in that midfield, because Odegaard likes to run around a lot. So yeah, it could be difficult.
Yeah. This I brought up this is before the whole White thing, and I brought this up in our preview a couple of days ago. Or was it yesterday? It must have been. I can't remember when it was. But yeah, a couple of days ago, and I would be all for that. For a White, I wouldn't
right back.
Yeah, right back, holding Gabriel in the middle, Tommy the left, and then when we're defending, we'll have the 3 centre backs. Saka then drops back as a wing back. That's how I can see it working. It's just that Cedric worries me no matter who he's against. If Vidasevsky or Son, it scares the living daylights out of me.
Now, yeah. We're very lucky.
So I would go for that. I don't know. I liked. Well, the thing is, is Arteta going to go in with a mindset saying, right, well, a draw's not going to be bad. So if we play this way, so be it.
I don't think so. I'm not. I don't think Arteta will go gun ho at all, because it's just not smart. But I can't believe for a second Arteta, regardless of what he says to the players, I can't believe for a second he's going into this match thinking we can get a draw. Because for me, that's just not the mentality. At this level, you want from a manager, and I don't think that's the mentality that we've seen. Particularly in the last kind of 4 games. When you actually think about the 3 games we lost post international break, and we all thought it was over. For us to kind of, regardless of the ins and outs and the minor details, we beat Chelsea, United, and West Ham. And then obviously Leeds, who are fighting for their lives. That can't be ignored. Nobody saw that coming. But I just think that kind of what that does is, it just shows you in terms of the belief, but also the character, of the manager and the players. Like, you can say a lot about Arteta, but at the end of the day, we're in a top 4 race that no one envisioned we would be in at the beginning of the season. And nobody envisioned, at different parts of the season, everybody's written us off, including ourselves. The first 3 games of the season, we were written off as relegation battlers, and then we've been kind of up and down. And then we lost those 3 games after the international break. And again, the whole of world football, wrote us off. We wrote us off. But every single time we've got to a point where there's been a hurdle, we seem to somehow, between the manager and the players, have had an answer or a bounce back. So I don't believe for a second he's going into this game thinking, let's not just lose. I think he's going into this game with, yes, he's going to have a game plan. What that game plan is going to be, I have no idea. But his vision and his what he's going to be seeing is, we need to win this game tonight, because at the end of the day, we win tonight, we can put our feet up for the next 2 league games. But we draw this game. For me, those 2 games coming up are still very tricky matches against
not easy.
I'm so sorry to interrupt you, G, but we had a really massive debate about this on our stream yesterday. Everton and Newcastle, for me, I think they are really, really tough matches. And I said, it doesn't matter anyway, but I did say there is still hope. I still have hope, because Everton and Newcastle are tough matches. Only the fact that Everton have won their game against Chelsea, so they might be a little bit more on the thingy. But Newcastle, my dad made a very good point on stream. Newcastle's final home game is you guys. So I don't know how you guys. I just wanted to know how you guys felt about those 2 games. If we don't win this, then I'm pretty sure we'll win those 2 games. Or if we don't win this,
no. That's a statement game for Newcastle.
Yeah,
we got slapped by them 2016 5-1.
That's what I'm saying. For me, when I look at these 3 games, obviously the North London derby is the toughest of the 3. But it's a derby, innit? So anything can happen. You can win, you can lose, you can draw, whatever. And obviously with the league positions and the points, a lot is riding on this game. But should we draw, should we lose? I'm not confident going into those next 2 games. Newcastle, regardless, is going to be a tough match. Obviously they've come into a bit of money recently. They're looking to finish in a league position which is as respectable as ever.
Very decent.
And ultimately, they're not really playing for much, but that also gives them the license to just play football. There's no pressure. So, sometimes that makes the team even more dangerous. The only thing with the Everton match is that obviously results went against Leeds last night, and Everton picked up a point. Now, Everton are 2 points ahead of the drop with a game in hand. That kind of changes. I think if Everton are fighting for relegation in the last game of the season, that is going to... Is
that your last game, isn't it? Newcastle.
That's my last game. Yeah. So if their survival is based on that match, and our top 4 is based on that match, then that I have no idea how that's going to go. But I feel like if Everton are safe by that point and we're still running for top 4, then I think that would just be a bit of a walk in the park. So I think a lot is riding on tonight. But yeah, I'm not under the impression that those games are going to be easy, because I went into the international break full of beans, full of confidence, and then we got slapped by Brighton, Palace, and I can't even remember who the other team was. Yeah, so not for me, nothing is guaranteed, including tonight and the next 2 league games. And in terms of your games, I want to know how you feel, because I feel like Norwich, you'll batter them.
No, that one I'm not bothered about.
But Burnley, listen, Burnley, don't sleep on Burnley, you know.
The thing is, the only thing that gives me like a little bit of hope with Burnley is, as much as I think, and I said this before, and when I was doing my whole prediction thing, I said we'll probably go and beat Arsenal, we'll probably go and beat Liverpool. We got a result against Liverpool, and it'll be Burnley's the game that we mess up and sort of lose it to. I think our home record at Burnley is very, very, very good. I mean, we've got a push-gas goal against them with Son's goal. We normally do well against Burnley, but the way that we sort of play under pressure is we lack sort of, maybe it sounds crazy to say, but we do lack the sort of ability to go forward and create a lot of chances. I mean, when we played Brighton and Brentford, we had I think we barely had any shots on target, maybe not even a shot on target. So the one team you don't want to play against like that is Burnley. And even though they may be down, I don't think they will be. I think they could still be fighting. So they're going to probably try and get a point. A point would probably be good for them, and they will just put every single person back. And Spurs don't really do that. You know what Conte Spurs are like. We want teams to sort of allow us a space so we can work and do our thing. So you lot are right. It's the Norwich game. As much as I, again, Touchwood will probably regret saying this, they are getting slapped left, right, and centre.
100%.
Half their play, apparently some of their players are already in Dubai. I'm seeing what's his name, who used to play for United, Brandon Williams, who's on loan, saying he ain't even rate Norwich. So I think it's just they're just ready for the next season in the Championship. Burnley, like you said, that's going to be the tough one. And I also probably am going to be watching that Newcastle game more than the Everton game for you guys. Even then, like, what annoys me so much is you guys at least could still, if you get beat tomorrow, even if it's like bad and it really knocks your confidence, even if you get beat at 3 or 4-0, you're still a point ahead. And it's like, we can still, like, our fans feel like those 2 games that we've won maybe are almost givens, because it's like, what, 18th and 20th we're playing. And they're almost thinking, oh, if we beat Arsenal, then we're going to win our next 2 games, and they're probably going to slip up. We could slip up just as much. We got just as big a chance of slipping up as you do. So we have to win all our games still. You guys can lose and still be okay. So
how often have you seen a relegated side at the last game of the season just play without? Well, they've got nothing to lose, and
you don't know what can happen.
They shock you. Do you know what I mean?
Don't know
but
what can happen.
Listen, I'm hoping it's not going to come to that. I just want it done tonight.
Champions League top 4.
I wish I could have it done, but I mean, we've got so much stress. And that's the worst thing. I've got to watch your games. I could literally not watch any of Tottenham's games, watch your games, and I could still find out if we got top 4. That's what's so annoying. I have to watch your games now, so at least you got an extra viewer, I guess.
Love it. Man. I want to wrap up soon. So what I want to do, I'll just give us a 5-minute time frame. Combined 11. Okay, so goalkeeper. We'll start with you, Darius. We all know who you're going for.
I'm going Lloris, and I you know what? The only caveat I'll give Ramsdale is I was clowning Ramsdale's signing earlier on in the summer when it made.
That was not the Arsenal fan base.
I was thinking, keep spending that money, 30 mil, easy, and he was okay, but I just thought a keeper can't have that much confidence after getting relegated twice. He's actually done all right, to be fair. So I will give him credit for this season. In my opinion, he should be England's starting keeper for the World Cup as well. I think he's probably better. He's better than Pickford, in my opinion. Pope, again, I think for the football Southgate and England want to play, I think Ramsdale probably suits that better. And he's, 23 years old? I think the only keeper younger than him in the league is Meslier. So keepers don't hit their prime till they're, 30 odd, almost mid-30s. So I think you got a keeper for a long time there. But I'm still going Lloris. I think Lloris is too important for us. He's our captain. And if we had whoever it is, I don't even know who our backup keeper is anymore because Gazaniga's left. It'd just be peak. Literally just be peak. So fortunately it's Lloris all day long.
G, are we giving him that or are we gonna fight for him?
I'm fighting for Ramsdale. For me it's like, very echoing everything, that Darius said. I was so underwhelmed with the signing of Ramsdale. And to be honest, practically all the signings that we made last summer. But I just feel like in terms of his performances this season, he literally almost single-handedly dragged us through endless amount of games. You know, I think if you're gonna talk about like save of the seasons or performances this season as a goalkeeper, you know, he's up there for me. You know, no disrespect to Lloris, he's a fantastic goalkeeper, but right now, other than there's very few goalkeepers right now in the Premier League that I would prefer to be in the Arsenal starting lineup than Ramsdale. And obviously there is a level of bias because I am an Arsenal fan. But I just think the impact he's had in terms of performances, in terms of morale, in terms of communication, distribution, yeah, for me it would be Ramsdale. But I completely understand why you've gone for Lloris, top international experienced goalkeeper. But yeah, as a goon, I've got to stick by my boy Ramsdale.
Yeah, I know you're doing the same.
We really need to get another Tottenham fan in. We really did. But I would echo what G said. And then he has, during that run we had where we had 1-0 wins, 2-1 wins, and made some really important saves. So match-winning saves. So for me, as good as Lloris is, World Cup winner, now I'm going for Ramsdale right now. The back four, like the full-backs.
Can I ask a question? Is it fit players only, no injured players? So I can't say Doherty.
So we say fit players. Are we assume that Saka and White are fit, by the way?
I'm there fit. If they don't start, I'll be so shocked. So I'm going to say
let's go then. Right back.
Me personally, I am going to put Tomiyasu in there in right back. I can't put Emerson in there, and we don't have another right back who's fit. And Cedric, I don't really rate Cedric that much at all. So I wanted to, you know me, Tony, I wanted Tomiyasu when we were linked with him. I think he would have been a perfect right centre back for Conte and a 3 at the back. I mean, he's good at going forward. He plays right back. He would have been an ideal right centre back for us. But we got Romero, so I'm not that mad. But I'm mad that he went to Arsenal. So I'll put him in right back. I'm not mad at that. I'll have
okay. So if you're giving us Tomiyasu at right back, at left back, we're going to give you Ben Davies.
You know what? Can I do one better? Can you give us Sessegnon instead?
Okay.
Because Ben Davies has not really played left back this season. He's played left centre back.
No, he has. So, you're right. Yeah.
I think even though he gets forward, I think I'd rather put Sessegnon in there just because both games he's had Salah on his case, he's dealt with him. And I know you can't really go off 2 performances, but that's probably the best striker in the Premier League. And defensively, he can do a job. And I don't really think at the moment you've got many left backs anyway, so I think it's kind of default anyway. But I'll take it. I'd rather Sessegnon than Ben Davies.
I agree with that.
We'll give you that. Okay, centre back pairing. Just give us your names. G, go.
Gabriel and Romero.
Yeah,
Darius.
Agree.
Okay, I would have gone White and Romero. I would have gone White.
Agree. Yeah, I'm gonna go Gabriel Romero. No, I'm not going White. I'm not the biggest fan of White, but Gabriel, I
like Romero.
I think a lot of people realize
in Serie A.
He was Serie A center defender of the season last year. I think a lot of people will come to their sense of him.
I was not vocally pissed, but I was pissed when he went to Tottenham.
He's playing our content here as well.
I just pretended like I didn't know who he was. I was like, "Oh, who's this?" But
you know, if you know, you know. Thank you. Yeah, I think you know what it is. He's just very aggressive. He gets a lot of yellow cards, but again, price tags 50 mil on him, 50 mil on White. They're always going to get judged differently, are they? So it is what it is.
So that's why I wouldn't put Romero and Gabriel because they're going to get sent off so many times.
Oh my God, that'll be hilarious.
But I would have gone Romero, but I've been outvoted. So Romero and Gabby it is. The 2 in midfield. This is going to get interesting.
Oh, are we doing 4-3-3?
We'll do like a
4-3-3.
Yeah.
Yeah, give us your 3 midfielders then. Yeah.
Okay. I'll go. For me, it's quite easy, actually. I think it's Bentancur, Højbjerg, and Odegaard. I think Odegaard's been your best player, in my opinion, this season. I don't even think it's been Saka. I think Odegaard's been your best and most important player. So
he's brought leadership qualities to the team as well.
Yeah, I think if we were to do based on form, I think it works. And even if we were to do it based on like if that midfield were to work, I think Bentancur and Højbjerg sort of protecting Odegaard, allowing him to do whatever. I think that would actually work. So I'm gonna go Bentancur, Højbjerg, and Odegaard.
I wonder if G's gonna go the same as me. Go on, let's have it.
I'm going Xhaka, Bentancur, and Odegaard.
I would have done the same myself. I think
I don't really rate Højbjerg, you know.
The thing about Højbjerg,
I can understand that. I think he's he's a Marmite player. I think if you're a Spurs fan, you love him, but if you look at him from outside, you probably don't You don't look like a very flashy centre mid. I can completely.
He's a good player.
He's decent. He's good. He is very good.
He's a good player, and I think he's improved your midfield when he came in from Southampton. But we're going on current form. Xhaka, for me, he's since he's come back from his suspension, he's been brilliant. And he's managed to contain his madness. Although this is the kind of game we might see unleashed tonight. Hopefully we don't.
No Lamella though. We've lost Lamella, so he's probably the prime person to try and do that. So he ain't at Spurs anymore.
That's very, very true. Okay, so sorry, Dash. Without
I'm outnumbered. I can't be mad. To be fair, I haven't really paid any attention to Xhaka, and with Højbjerg again, I think he's in that same category where
he is.
I think we all need a Højbjerg in your team. You probably need a player like Xhaka, but if you get a better player, you probably aren't going to say, you know what, you want to keep you with all. You know what I mean? You probably would look to improve, and I think we are sort of. I mean, I heard that Newcastle are willing to bid 30 million for Højbjerg, and if they want that, they can have him for 30 million. We bought him for what, 3 million Kyle Walker-Peters, so that's a nice hefty profit.
Okay, front three. I'm going to start, and I think it might be quite.
Easy for me.
I think it might be straightforward.
It's easy
when I say Son, Kane, Saka. Kulusevski's close, by the way, because I think Kulusevski's since he's come into that Spurs team and the way he's been playing since the get-go has been nothing short of brilliant. But Saka has to be in there.
Yeah,
he's got a lot. I think he got more than 10 goals in the Prem this season, hasn't he, Saka?
Yeah,
or he's close to it.
Yeah.
I probably through Tottenham bias, I'm going to say Kulusevski.
Yeah.
But because I'm outnumbered and because it's Saka and because he's actually been very, very good this season, and I sort of is crazy. You lot are probably going to slate me for this, but I sort of was headlights for Saka. I was like, are these Arsenal fans gassing this guy a little bit too much? Are they treating their kid? Is he a little bit too overgassed by their fans? But I will say, for what is he, 20, 22 is he?
20.
Oh my
20.
days, yeah, no chance. Sorry. If Kulusevski was here from the start and did everything that he did all season, I think I would probably go 100%. But I didn't know that he was 20. I'll be happy. I'm gonna still say Kulusevski, but I'll be happy to be outnumbered because can't be mad. Saka's had a very good season. Saka and Odegaard for me have been your two best players this season.
Yeah, they're
like the two players. You know, when you think like, I'm pretty sure Kane and Son are the same for you two. But if you could take like two players from your rival team, it'd be Saka and Odegaard for me. I think they'd make a massive difference to our team. So not gonna argue. At all.
This question is Kulusevski on loan?
He is.
He's on loan, but
his option to buy, right?
It's 30 million euros, I think, and I think we paid like an 8 million euro fee.
That's
so
still
no brainer. Before any other clubs start thinking, you know what, if we give him a little bit more, it's not an obligation. So I still think obviously you can negotiate, but I think based on if we get top 4, it's an obligation. 100%. That's in the contract. So if we get top 4, it's an obligation, but. Regardless, Conte said in press conferences he's going to be a Tottenham player. Same with Romero, that is an obligation. He technically is still on loan, but he will get signed as well. Those two players, I think, are guarantees. But I hope that money sort of was money from last year because we still need a lot of positions to improve in the summer. So that's the only thing people are worried about. That's like sort of money coming out from the transfer kitty. But I think they would have sorted that out from last year. Maybe the Kulusevski one is a bit of a. They didn't expect him to do so well, but there'll be Spurs players. I'm 95% sure with Kulusevski he'll be a Spurs player.
He's one of those players that you as a rival fan, and you watch him and you want to hate him, you really do. But he's so good at what he does.
And he's big as well. That's why I knew he was big. Right? He's 6'3". I was like, even if like he's not flying sort of technically, and he's not the most amazing player. Size alone will allow him to adapt to the Premier League a lot better. So I think like you said, I respect that you guys can respect Kulusevski because I think some people, I think Liverpool fans are not rating him because of the Diaz thing, and don't forget Diaz was our first option. The only reason we didn't get Diaz is because Liverpool absolutely just swooped in and said, well, you've done all the dealings for us, you got it down to that price.
He's been out as well.
And he did his bit. Imagine we got Diaz and Kulusevski. It would be a completely different story. So, I'm not mad. If we're going in that direction in terms of shopping, then I'm happy. That direction of market shopping is good for us. So, And I'm scared about your links as well. The players you're linked with scaring me as well, man. And that's why top 4 is so important because a player's going to join without that Champions League.
Yeah.
Are they going to do it? I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, couple of the comments. Just DWTT Gary, you're a bit late, but I'm sure you can rewind and catch up. The Monday United agenda. Obviously, staying quiet about his team, but big up.
Yeah,
we love you.
I think he should, but no, love him Monday. Been a long time.
He brings some energy. He does. Listen, guys, it's been a great stream. All right, so we've had a chat now for nearly an hour. How are the nerves, Darius?
I feel a little bit more relaxed, you know.
Okay, all right, okay, all right, Darius.
The only reason I am not nervous is because, like I said, the position doesn't change on the table if we win. The reason I'm absolutely like not even wanting to sort of, well, I'm at work, so fortunately I probably won't be able to watch the game. But the only reason I'm extremely nervous is because it just gives you that flashback of like you lot winning the league on our pitch, like securing top 4, being able to finish above us when we've got a full crowd in for the first time. That ain't gonna be nice. That'll be horrible medicine that you guys will hold over us for a long time. So
forever.
That's why I don't. That's why I don't want that to happen. It's more like if you get top 4, I've sort of accepted that. But to get top 4 on our pitch in a big North London derby, that's disgusting. That can't happen. Yeah. So we need to win this game. We actually need to win this game. Pressure's on us, man. Pressure's on us.
I think it's. Look, I'm okay at the moment, but as kickoff comes, the lineups come up. It can all change. Look, listen, any North London derby, even back in the day, it's a derby.
Yeah,
it's a derby. And anything can happen. I just want it done tonight, and I just want it after the 3 seasons we've had. I just want to chill for the last 2 games.
Yeah.
I'd be like, we lost to Newcastle. They might as well go.
That's the thing. You lot could be beaches, sunglasses, and mojitos soon. Could be. Not for me.
That's what I want.
You see, they're already ready. Oh man, you're making it worse. You're making it worse.
We win tonight. This is gonna be me for the next 2 games.
Oh man. I'll be seeing 16-year-olds playing flipping first team football for Arsenal, won't I? It'd be disgusting. Don't want to see that.
It's mad. But listen. Absolute pleasure to have you both on. Just before we do go, G, let the people know where they can find you.
Yeah, definitely, man. Yeah, so just hit me up on Twitter. That's where I'm most active. GTalksArsenal, and obviously via my Twitter account, you can check out obviously Cannon Chatter TV, which is obviously my channel that I share with a couple other people. So man, just hit me up, man. I'm always here on Twitter. Probably too much interacting with Gooners. So hit me up.
Darius, same with you.
Same, man. You'll see me on Paxton Road, obviously, and my Twitter is the same, Darius 3K. I think G's spot on. I think we spend too much time on Twitter anyway, beefing with people and arguing with people that you just would not spend that time with in real life. So I think I'm going to take some advice and potentially, especially if we don't win tonight, you won't see me on Twitter for a while. So I'm just going to say, don't bother hitting me up if we lose tonight. But if we do, I'll be there. I'll definitely be there.
Yeah, obviously, please do check out both their channels. Paxton Road, I know they're a Tottenham channel, but there's a good bunch there. Sid cracks me up with his singing.
Oh, he's amazing. He's amazing.
They're great guys. Please make sure you do subscribe, check them out. And I think all there's left to say is, come on, you Gunners.
Come on, you Gunners, man.
Come on, you Gunners.
No way. Come on, you Spurs. No way. You two are the first people I'm going to message. That's a guarantee now. If we win.
Hey, listen. Fold is going off if we lose.
Listen, guys, it's been great. Enjoy the game, people. And we'll see you very, very soon. All the best. Come on, you Gunners.